All right, well, hello. Hopefully you received my email earlier today. I attached a couple of, I think, what are very helpful documents regarding APA. Now, I'm just gonna say what everyone's thinking. APA. No one loves. Well, I was gonna say, no one loves talking about APA, but there are people that love talking about APA. I don't know them. I don't know where they live. I don't know who they are, but I know they exist. I know that there are people that get excited about the idea of figuring out if we should have one or two spaces after the punctuation at the end of the sentence. I don't know who they are, like I said. I don't know why they get excited, but they do, because someone's job, in fact, it's probably somebody's, plural, job, is to figure out APA guidelines. So, I don't know the history of APA. I don't know the history of all the different writing styles, but what I do know is they exist. And in our school, so the school that now, I'm actually going to share this video with all the courses that I'm teaching this term, and so I teach for a number of programs across the spectrum in the School of Behavioral and Applied Science, and in BASS, so the Behavioral School of Behavioral and Applied Sciences, we use APA. So what I want to do is really briefly just kind of talk about a few things regarding APA that may not be clear, okay? So when you think about APA, and again, I know that it's not something that we all love to talk about, but when you think about it, there are some very straightforward guidelines that need to be followed, okay? So some of you would say, well, I came from an undergraduate program that I wrote an MLA. Can I write an MLA? No, you can't. So even if you're in the professional leadership program, in the leadership minor, your criminal justice and your psychology, and both of those write in APA. Okay, so the reason that we have you write in APA, or at least I could say the reason that I have you write in APA, is because I'm not familiar with the other writing styles. My undergraduate degree was in MLA. I was used to footnotes and all that. And then I came to grad school, and I've been writing APA ever since. Okay, so since 2006, I guess I would say I've been writing APA. All right, if I ever go to seminary or some other school, perhaps I'll have to write a different way. But for now, it's APA through and through. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you're writing. That is the expectation for everything that's done in this class. Okay, so what are we doing with APA? Okay, well, if you look at a lot of the assignments that you have in your syllabi, you will notice that many of them, not all of them, but many of them have a requirement for a cover letter. Okay, so cover letter actually has a very formal way of being listed out in APA. So what I need you to do is I need you to go to Purdue OWL. So just open up a search window, and you'll see that there's a number of resources that are on those documents that I shared earlier today that take you to Purdue OWL, right? There's an actually APA handbook you can get. And what I love about the document that I share with you, if you have that APA handbook, which is listed as a writing assistance text within your syllabi, if you have that book, you can actually go to those references and you can help to identify the things that are being discussed. Or you can simply go to Purdue OWL. So Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever it is, search for Bing Purdue OWL and type in, there's a search engine there, type in APA cover letter. And I'm not a huge stickler on this, but I want you to get in the habit, if you're not already, of writing an APA standardized writing style cover letter. Okay, and you'll notice that there's some of the information that you may be used to putting on a cover letter is not included in this cover letter. Okay, you'll also notice that depending on who you have in class, as far as your instructor goes, they may have different expectations and desires for where you put the page numbers. Okay, so for me, my expectation and hope is that when you do your cover letter, if the assignment requires one, and again, it will be stated in the assignment if it is, that you do not have the page number on the first page if it's a cover letter. Okay, and you have a page number on every page following that, and you have the page number in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, so and there's a way that you can actually go up to edit, and you can say that you want your first page to be different than your second page. Okay, the other thing that you need to think about is your running head. Okay, so the running head, again, if you have questions on that, go to Purdue OWL, and you would search for APA running head. Okay, so the running head is actually in the header. Okay, so your page number will be in the footer. Okay, so don't put your don't try and space it out and just kind of list in the same body of the document itself. Your header or your footer actually has to be in those specific itemized areas of the document. Okay, so the running head is different because you're going to say running head colon and then the title of the paper, and then you'll have the rest of the pages in the document not have running head on the following pages. Okay, and Purdue OWL will lay that out for you really super clearly. I promise you that. Okay. That's some specifics. The references page, it's not a bibliography, it's not a works cited. Some of the other writing styles, that's what they would call them. APA, it's a references, okay, so plural, page. That's going to be on your last page. You're going to center references, and then you will actually, in citations, in the proper references citation, you will then list out the text that you've used, or the articles, or what have you. If you have videos or presentations that you use, you'll list them all there on the references page. Keep in mind that it has to be a separate page, okay? And if you don't have it on a separate page, there will be some points that are docked from you, okay? So these are things that's helpful for me to know that you are, one thing, simply following directions, right? So if I'm saying you need to have a cover letter and you don't, that's going to be some points removed, right? If you read the assignment very carefully, you will see that everything that you need in there is going to be in the assignment, okay? And if it says cover letter, put a cover letter. If it says references page, put a references page. If the paper is 4 to 7 pages long, those 4 to 7 pages do not include the cover letter or the references page, okay? So those 4 to 7 pages are papers or pages that are written, and then you have your your cover page, and your references page, which are additional pages in the document, okay? When you are writing a paper and you have a quotation or you have a reference, okay, and I mean to differentiate reference by way of maybe it's you're paraphrasing what somebody has said. You're always required to give credit where credit is due. Okay, one of the things that I find happening all too often, and I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt 9 times out of 10. And assume the best of my students that you are not out to plagiarize something or somebody, right? You're not out to claim somebody else's ideas as your own. I've had it happen before. I've had to take some action, right? There's some disciplinary action that comes with plagiarism. It can be very extreme, especially if it's a repeat offense. You can actually get booted out of not just the course, you can fail the course, you can get kicked out of the program, you can get kicked out of the school. Plagiarism is a very, very serious thing. So my rule of thumb that I take with my students is when in doubt, cite. Okay, if you're not sure if you should provide a citation, it's always best to cite. And I would say this, over citation is not a problem. Under citation is almost always a problem. I've had papers that have been written, and here's another thing I'll kind of, as a caveat, throw in there, or a little kind of a bunny trail of sorts, but still connected. I've had papers that are written, and the students have written an entire page, if not more, maybe page and a half to 2 pages, have been without a break for a new paragraph. That cannot happen, okay? Paragraphs are there, probably 3, 4, maybe, if you're being generous, 5 sentences per paragraph. And in that specific or those specific paragraphs, you are communicating a specific idea or ideas that flow well together, okay? So some of you may have seen a video that I posted in one of the classes this last week where they were asking, are you a hard grader? And to answer that for everybody, the question that I asked in response was, are you a good writer, right? So if you're a good writer, then the answer is I'm not a hard grader because I will be able to give you a grade that you deserve, that you've earned because it's been a well-written paper. So there's grammar, there's spelling, there's correct APA format, there's citation, there's structure and all those different things. But one of the things where I find students really miss on points and just kind of getting their big idea across is they don't write a paper that flows well, okay? What I mean by that is it's choppy. You'll probably, if you write a choppy paragraph or a choppy paper, you'll hear It just didn't flow. However, when you write a paper that flows, it's so fun to read, and you'll hear me say, as far as what the written response is, well, something along the lines of, "Man, that was a really well written paper. It was fun to read. It flowed really well." Okay, so flow is important. Keep that in mind when you're writing with the paragraphs. Okay, when you're providing citation, there's a number of different ways that you can cite them. And again, I would reference the APA handbook, and I would reference Purdue OWL. You could do, for instance, if you're writing a book, or you're citing a book, let's say by me, not written a book, maybe someday I will, and you're saying Boyan 2024, right? So you would say Boyan, you're quoting me, Boyan, and then in parentheses would be 2024, close the parentheses, stated, comma, quote it, close the quotation, don't add the punctuation, add another parentheses, and then you would put simply the pages or the page number, okay? And when you do that, it's not PG, period. It's not PGS, period. If you're doing one page, so let's say it's Boyan, quote, parentheses, 2024, stated, quote, close the quote, parentheses again, and then you would put page, P, period, 47. Now, if it's something that carries from one page to the next, or maybe you're providing what's the word? You're drawing a blank here. You are referencing something but not having a direct quote, right? You're paraphrasing. There we go. You would put Boyan, again, 2024, stated, then you would put in parentheses, or quotations, close the quotations, parentheses again, and if it's multiple pages, it'd be PP, period, and then 47 through 62. Close the quotation, or the parentheses, and then add the punctuation. Okay, I know it's kind of hard to kind of visualize that as I'm saying that, but the Purdue OWL and the APA handbook will be very helpful in providing in-text citations. That's just one way. Okay, there's other ways you could do. It has been stated that quotations, close the quotations, and then after the quotations, you would put in parentheses Boyan, comma, 2024, comma, PP, dot, right, period, 47 through 62. Close the parentheses, add the punctuation, and you're done. Okay. If it is one author, obviously it's just Boyan. If it's two authors, it's going to be Boyan and Cresson, and that "and" is actually written. It's A-N-D, so Boyan and Cresson. Okay. I'm sorry. If it's written in the paper itself, it's going to be Boyan ampersand Cresson. Okay. And then you put the page numbers. Okay. And then the ampersand is the "and" symbol. Now here's where it gets tricky. If you are providing a citation on your references page, and it's two people, it's then Boyan, comma, J, period, S, period, A-N-D, Cresson, comma, J, period, M, period. Two people. In the references page citation, it's the word "and," but in the citation within the text itself, it's the ampersand. Okay, I know it gets technical, but this is the APA way of doing this. If you have multiple authors, when you're writing your references page, it's now going to be Boyan, Boyan, comma, J dot S dot, comma, Cresson, comma, J dot M dot, period, comma, ampersand, and then you'll have the rest of the last names, right? And then you close the parentheses there. Within the paper itself, if you're doing an in-text citation, it's Boyan, comma, et al. And it gets super technical, but I want you to think, you don't have to remember any of these things. In fact, you don't have to write them down, but I want you to remember that there's multiple ways of citation, and it's really important that you pay attention to the details, okay? I don't need you to have a citation after every single idea, but if the whole paper is filled with only other people's ideas and quotations, that becomes a problem because now it's not your original idea weaving in the citations from other people's ideas to create a critical analysis of the book or what have you. So that's going to be a problem itself. Okay, APA is complicated, But please go to Purdue OWL, please check out the handbook, and you should be more than fine with it. Any questions, please let me know.